Welcome to this explainer. Just 5 years ago, if you wanted to build a functioning, production-ready AI solution, you basically had to hire an entire army of specialists. You needed this huge team, massive budgets, and literally months of coordination just to get a basic prototype off the ground. But today, well, the landscape has completely shifted. Today, one highly skilled engineer can take a raw business problem and carry it through every single phase of development, right up to a live, deployed solution. It's a real game changer, so let's dive into exactly how this works. Now, seeing this massive shift, it's totally natural to wonder, did all those highly specialized AI roles just disappear overnight? Did the tech industry just fire everyone and replace them with a single person? Absolutely not. The roles haven't vanished at all. Instead, the role of an AI engineer has drastically evolved. The boundaries between these once rigid specialties have blurred, and it's created a completely new type of professional. Section 1. The AI industry shift. To really grasp this shift, we need to look at how development has totally transformed. Back in the day, the old way, companies had to hire a deeply fragmented team. You needed a separate business analyst, a data engineer, a data scientist, a machine learning engineer, and a solution architect. Everyone lived in their own little silo and only handled one small piece of the puzzle. Now, what's incredibly cool is the new way. Thanks to modern AI tools, robust cloud platforms, automation frameworks, and those crazy powerful foundation models, these fragmented silos can actually be consolidated. They empower one skilled professional, the solution AI engineer, to operate across all these domains. And this brings us to the complete modern workflow. It starts with the business problem, moves to data, then the AI model, building the application, and finally deployment. Now let's be absolutely clear here. This doesn't mean one person literally replaces an entire enterprise team on massive multi-million-dollar projects. Not at all. What it means is that one professional now has the capability to understand, navigate, and actively contribute across this entire end-to-end workflow. Section 2. The 5 AI roles. Let's break down the 5 specific roles this modern professional encompasses. First up is the business analyst. This is really where everything starts. A top-tier solution AI engineer doesn't just blindly jump in and start writing code or testing models. They act as the analyst first. They talk to stakeholders, figure out exactly what the business pain points are, and define crystal-clear project goals. Their superpower here? It's translating a vague, messy business requirement into a strict, actionable technical requirement. Let's ground this in a concrete scenario, okay? Imagine a retail company that urgently needs to rein in its skyrocketing customer support costs. So, acting as the business analyst, the engineer sits down with the support team, digs into their daily friction, and figures out that repetitive, simple customer queries are the absolute biggest drain on resources. Boom! The problem is now defined, setting the perfect stage for the next phase. Once that problem is locked in, the professional switches hats and becomes the data engineer. We all know an AI solution is ultimately only as good as the data it relies on, right? Well, the data engineer is the architect of that data. They're the ones responsible for collecting raw information, aggressively cleaning it, organizing the databases, and building those robust data pipelines that will actually feed the AI. Continuing with our retail example, building a chatbot to handle those repetitive queries means you're gonna need data. As the data engineer, this professional goes in and gathers thousands of historical customer emails, company FAQs, resolved support tickets, CRM records, the whole shebang. They pull all this messy, real-world data from different systems and funnel it into a nice, clean, unified format that a machine can actually make sense of. Next, it's time to step into the shoes of the data scientist. This is the expert who dives into all that freshly cleaned data to discover patterns and actionable insights. They analyze historical trends, they build predictive machine learning models, and they rigorously evaluate model performance. They're making sure the AI isn't just taking wild guesses, but actually providing solid, accurate value. For instance, beyond just answering basic queries, the business might want to know who is at risk of jumping ship. So acting as the data scientist, our engineer builds a predictive model that analyzes user behavior to flag which customers are most likely to cancel their subscriptions. This is exactly where you transition from just answering questions to directly impacting the company's bottom line through proactive retention. Then we've got the AI builder. This is the hands-on developer role that builds what the user actually ends up interacting with. They're constructing AI agents, setting up RAG applications, which, if you're familiar, allow language models to search through specific company data. integrating various APIs, connecting the LLMs, designing the workflows, and meticulously testing prompts to get that absolute perfect output. To make this super tangible, think about creating an internal AI assistant for the company. As the AI builder, you're not just spinning up a generic chatbot. You're connecting a sophisticated language model directly to the company's private PDFs and internal documents. You're building a highly secure interface where an employee can ask a hyper-specific company question and get an instant, accurate answer based purely on internal proprietary data. Finally, they take on the role of the solution architect. This is the big picture designer. They step back and look at the entire system from above. They're responsible for choosing the right underlying technologies, ensuring the system can actually scale up without crashing, locking down security to protect sensitive data, and optimizing those cloud costs so the project doesn't accidentally bankrupt the company. They tie the whole workflow together into a single production-ready system. And honestly, the scale of this role can be massive. As a solution architect, you might be designing a highly secure enterprise-grade AI system that has to seamlessly serve thousands of employees concurrently, all across the globe. You have to ensure that when all those employees log on at 9 a.m. sharp, the infrastructure doesn't buckle, the data remains perfectly secure, and the cloud computing costs stay incredibly efficient. Section 3, the power of AI tools. Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking. How on earth can one single person possibly execute all 5 of these complex roles successfully without totally burning out? Well, the answer lies in the incredible leverage provided by modern AI tools. Just look at the sheer volume available to us today. Tools like ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot, Claude, Cursor, Notebook LM, Power BI Copilot, AutoML. I mean, just a few years ago, writing a data pipeline or configuring a server took hours of manual, repetitive typing. Today, these tools act as your dedicated assistants, dramatically reducing that manual labor. They write the boiler code, they debug errors instantly, and they automate the tedious stuff. And this brings us to a really crucial takeaway. AI doesn't eliminate expertise. It amplifies capable professionals. Because these tools take care of the repetitive, manual grunt tasks, the professional is freed up to do what humans actually do best. You get to spend your time thinking, designing the architecture, validating the outputs, and actually solving the core business problems rather than just getting bogged down in syntax. Section 4, the T-shaped professional. To truly thrive in this new landscape, you can't just rely on the tools. You need a fundamental mindset shift. You need cross-functional capability. We often represent this with a giant letter T. The horizontal bar of the T represents your broad knowledge across multiple disciplines, understanding the basics of business, data, programming, cloud infrastructure, and communication. The vertical bar, that represents your deep, specialized expertise in one specific chosen area. Modern companies are absolutely desperate to hire these T-shaped professionals. Why? Because they can collaborate effortlessly across departments and they understand the entire life cycle of a product. Compare this to the outdated career path. The old career was all about one extremely narrow specialization. You knew your one tool, you had very limited visibility into the rest of the business, and you stayed squarely in your lane. But the modern AI career is entirely different. You're an AI-assisted problem solver. You possess a cross-functional, business-focused understanding, and companies value you not just because you know a specific software, but because you know how to actually fix their real-world problems. Which brings us to the ultimate core message of this explainer. A solution AI engineer doesn't need to have a PhD in every single technology. That's impossible, right? What they need is to know just enough across these multiple disciplines to seamlessly turn an idea into a working reality. The future belongs to professionals who can connect business problems with AI solutions, not just to those who know how to build models in a vacuum. So, I'll leave you with this somewhat provocative thought. If you could master just one of these 5 roles first, business analyst, data engineer, data scientist, AI builder, or solution architect, which one would you choose to start your journey? Let me know your thoughts down below. This is day 16 of 90, so make sure to hit follow for tomorrow's topic as we continue exploring this fascinating landscape. Oh, there's so many yummy vegetarian options out there. You could try like lentil soup, veggie burgers, tofu stir fry. The possibilities are endless.